Black raspberries are the most amazing fruit if you've never tried them. They're flavorful, juicy, they're full of seeds, which if you like seedy fruit, then you'll like them. If you don't like seedy fruit, then they might not be for you. Completely free. You will never find them in the stores. You have to go search for them at the edge of woods. In this video, I'm going to be showing a number of different ways to prepare black raspberries, and the classic is just a little dish of black raspberries with heavy cream. You might want to add a little bit of sugar if it's not quite sweet enough for you. It really brings out the flavor if nothing else. Black raspberries in our area ripen between about June 15th and July 15th. And these are relatively warm days, so the best thing is to go out early in the morning when the sun is just coming up, or even a little before the sun comes up. That way you are ensured that you get out there before the sun rises too high in the sky and starts to warm up the area. One of the tricky things here is that you have to wear full sleeves and socks and shoes and full long pants because the bushes tend to be prickly. And if you really want to take this seriously, you actually have to dive right into the bushes and get scratched up. So you learn really quickly you have to cover up very well. Another standard simple recipe is your oatmeal, little brown sugar on there, and black raspberries really add a nice texture and flavor to your oatmeal. I have yet to make a black raspberry jam or a black raspberry jelly. However, I do make black raspberry sauce. And this, it's simple. It's the same as with strawberries. You just add sugar and let it sit for a little while, and some of the juices will start to come out. Because there is kind of a hardened pericarp on the surface of the fruit, you do need to squish them a little bit. Just like with strawberries, you would need to slice them if you want to get the juices out. The black raspberry sauce has a number of different applications, but the classic and absolutely delicious is on vanilla ice cream. I'm not a vanilla ice cream person, but this is amazing. This was about 10 days in, I would say about June 25th, when I started getting really good yields. You can see how gorgeous and full these berries are. And yes, I got about 8 cups of black raspberries this day in about a 2-hour window of picking. This tree fell down in the middle of the night, sometime in the last 2 days, and crushed this entire black raspberry bush. Oh no. Great tragedy. This was around June 28th. I would spend up to 4 hours in the mornings picking black raspberries until the sun got so hot that it was starting to make me sweat with my long sleeves and long pants. And so there was a sort of a limit. If you don't know about them, it's probably pretty easy to miss a black raspberry bush, but those of us who love them so much always have an eye out for them. We're always watching the edge of woods. For some reason, it's that juxtaposition between a shady wood and having a little bit of sunlight that makes for the best black raspberries. You know that they're ripe when they come off of their core easily. You have to just a quick flick of the thumb should be able to pull them off. If they're not coming off easily, then they're not quite ripe yet. This, I think, is one of the major differences between a blackberry, which still has that core attached, and a black raspberry, which is hollow with no core. It's probably also the main reasons you don't see black raspberries in the store. They are fairly delicate. They squish easy, I suppose. I wouldn't say they squish any more easily than red raspberries, and you do see red raspberries in the store, but maybe these are just a little bit softer and a little harder to transport. By the end of June, the yields were so great, I had to freeze them. Now, when you freeze them, you have to make sure that they are completely dry. You do want to wash them pretty carefully. There's no pesticides on here or anything like that, so it's mostly fine, but there's a lot of insects that crawl on them and such, so a good soak in some water should do the trick. However, after you wash them, you have to dry them thoroughly before you freeze them, and they are good for an entire year and beyond. There aren't a lot of recipes specific to black raspberries, but you can use a lot of recipes that use different fruits and just substitute in black raspberries instead. This was a recipe for blueberry bars, sort of a breakfast bar with a buttery, sugary crumble with lime infused black raspberry sauce sort of mixed into the middle of it. Great combination. This was one of my favorites. Not all the recipes were hits, shall we say. I thought I'd try out the store-bought chocolate-covered strawberry foolproof way to make that treat. It's always been so easy, so I went ahead and did that with the black raspberries instead. I think it's just a little bit too soft of a fruit to hold up to so much chocolate, and it didn't really work, I thought. Maybe not perfectly well. Wouldn't do this one again.
It's nice and juicy in there. I would give it a 4 out of 10, honestly. What do you think?
Yeah, it's nice and juicy in there. I'll give it a 6.
It's just the flavor combination is not very good. 6?
Yeah, 6.
All right. We're having a picnic out of the back of the car. And in this context, those chocolate-covered raspberries are actually delicious.
A current food trend is tangulu, which is a fruit covered with a hardened candy coating. Most of the time people are using strawberries for this, or grapes, and some other fruits such as slices of kiwi or slices of orange. The black raspberries, it didn't work so well. Again, maybe it's just the size of the fruit is just too small, and the kind of the sugar coating was a little bit overwhelming compared with the size of the fruit. It was hard to really still get any kind of fruit taste out of it with what I found to be kind of an unpleasant tooth feel of the sugar coat. The whole family loves my fruit smoothies. I make it with any kind of frozen fruit we have in the freezer, and this time including the black raspberries. Gives a real nice dark depth to the smoothie. I add a little bit of sugar and then fill up to the top of the fruit line with sugar-free lemonade. Works every time. My mom and I were walking the grounds of her house that we were selling after 60 years of living there, this old farmhouse, and buried amongst some bushes, I had found some black raspberry bushes. So this is me picking the very last of the blackberry bushes. This was about, I don't know, maybe a week before the sale went through. And so it's bittersweet having the very last fruit harvest from the farmhouse. The regular season for black raspberries goes straight up through July 15th. However, this summer I had to stop around July 1st. The mosquitoes were just terrible this year. The last day that I picked, if you just touched one of these bushes, you'd see a big cloud of mosquitoes come out. Mosquitoes. There was always some mosquitoes. For some reason this summer, July became absolutely unbearable with mosquitoes. And in this particular park that I go to, there are also horseflies on occasion. But on this day, the horseflies were rampant. And horseflies are where I draw the line, people. That's it for me. Claire Saffritz has a recipe for caramel blackberry pie. And of course, I was substituting black raspberries here. I thought it turned out okay in that respect. I probably added too much gelatin to the caramel, and therefore it was a little gelatinous in my opinion. Also, I'm not super adept at making pie crusts at all, and this was sort of a pie crust tart mix sort of a thing, and I thought that was a little stodgy. The kids really liked it, so I'll probably play around with this one in the future. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's caramel and it's black raspberries, you know. We've already proven that black raspberries go great with dairy, and essentially caramel is just a mixture of a bunch of dairy and sugar, so it should work out better in future. I was not crazy about it, but the kids did like it, and there's potential there. One of my favorite desserts is Sham Tort, which is a meringue on the bottom, vanilla ice cream, a fruit sauce, and whipped cream on the top. Traditionally, the fruit is strawberries. However, of course, I was going to use some blackberry sauce for this one. I also thought I'd try something a little unique, and instead of just using plain meringues, I would flavor them with blackberries. This was, I probably wouldn't do it again, but it was certainly an interesting experiment. Although it tastes a little burnt. It has like a burnt taste to it, but I'm not sure if that's just the flavor profile, maybe. The black raspberry sauce was a winner, as usual, as expected. However, the meringue flavored with black raspberries didn't work so well, so I went ahead and put one together with the regular meringue, and it was absolutely delicious.
Yeah, all right.
The last recipe that I'm featuring is this black raspberry pie. I found the recipe on the internet. Unfortunately, I didn't bookmark the page. It was a real winner, and I tried remaking it later with a different recipe. Did not turn out as well. This one was great, and I will definitely be searching around until I find it again. Unlike the caramel black raspberry tart thing that I made earlier, for this one I just went ahead and used a store-bought pie crust. They're phenomenal. They turn out perfectly every time, and you don't have to worry about all the rolling out and perfect proportions and everything else. Here, you want to try it?
That's good.
It's pretty good.
To show you how nicely these freeze, these were just frozen dry, and I popped them into a bowl and thawed them out for about an hour. They have lost a little bit of their integrity, but you can see it still makes a really nice berries and cream, just like we did on day one. Just as delicious, maybe just a little bit softer than they were in the first place. And I can enjoy this breakfast year round.